What's going on, everybody? So last year I did a top 10 anticipated films of 2019, and now it's time to do the same thing, but for 2020. I got 13 movies here, 3 honorable mentions, but let's do the top 10. Number 10, what am I looking forward to next year? No Time to Die. That is a 007 James Bond movie. I've only seen a couple, so I'll probably have to get myself familiar with the other ones. I'll probably rewatch them. But yeah, I'm into action. I'm into some spy movies. The spy action genre was never really my thing. I just like war movies or just the Jason Statham, Arnold type action movies. But I never really grew up on the James Bond movies. But it looks interesting, and I'm curious to check that one out. I don't have a whole lot to say about these movies. Just I'm anticipating them. That's really all I can say. I'm not gonna bullshit for hours on end and make this video long or anything. So let's just get to the point. What is my number 9? The Wrong Turn reboot. This is supposed to be written and or directed by the same guy who did part 1, and it's going to completely change the story. So it's going to take the name but go in a different direction. So like the new Black Christmas movie, that's complete dog shit. It's gonna like take away the whole cannibal hillbilly angle and do some kind of like monster in a cave thing, like The Descent, or maybe there's witch. I don't know, like what's that monster and fuck. It's Until Dawn. The witch. It has a weird name. Maybe they're gonna do some other weird creature thing, but I don't know. I'm curious to check that out. They already released a poster for it, and they already filmed it in September, and so it's gonna come out some point next year, hopefully. So that's my number 9. Number 8 would be Conjuring 3, and I will not call it by its actual title because that's stupid. That is the most ridiculous title ever. I am not calling it that. It is The Conjuring 3, and it's going to have the same director of The Curse of La Llorona, I believe, and you got James Wan producing again, and I'm curious to see what the next adventure for the Warrens is going to be. So yeah, I think The Conjuring is one of the better possession supernatural movies of recent memory. Like Hereditary is definitely number 1, except that's more like witch stuff. But when it comes to like exorcism type movies, I think The Conjuring is one of the better, more effective ones. That movie gave me chills in the theaters. So I'm curious to see what the third one will be like, because part 1 and part 2 are very good. Like, it's almost hard for me to choose which one I like better. That's how good they are. I'm like, do I like 1? Do I like 2 better? It just depends on the day and the viewing, I guess. How many is this one more watchable than that one? I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to pick. So I hope part 3 won't be like the black sheep of the franchise. It'll be like, oh, fuck that one. I hope it's just as good as the first 2. Number 8, is that where we're at? Number 8 will be The Impractical Jokers movie. That is a show on True TV that I have been watching since like 2013, back when they were in like season 2. And they're on like season 8 or 9 now. And they finally got a movie, and I can't wait to see that. That's coming out in like February, supposedly. So I can't wait to see that. Just like an hour and a half long episode of them just pranking people left and right. I'm not sure if they're going to try to like have a plot that goes through, or if it's just going to be structured as an episode that's just very long. So I'm very curious to see what they do with that and what the punishment will be at the end. Is there going to be a big old grand punishment for one of the Jokers? I don't know. I haven't seen the trailer yet. I've seen like little snippets of it. I haven't really watched it. Number 7, I'm losing count. I don't have these numbered at all, so I have no idea what number I'm at. I think this is 7. We'll go with it. Fantasy Island, or maybe it's 6. I don't know. Fantasy Island, I saw a trailer for this at the theater about a few weeks ago, and it looks interesting. Like, you go to this island, and whatever your fantasy is, they can like somehow make it real, no matter what. And this chick goes there, she's like, I want my high school bullied to be killed in front of me. Like, it's just like a fantasy. Like, in real life, she wouldn't want it to actually happen, and she thinks it's all bullshit. So she's like, oh, okay, my fantasy would be this bully who gave me hell throughout high school many years ago. I would just love to see her get her comeuppance, and they make it happen. And she's like, oh my gosh, is this real? Like, the trailer, it just made it seems very intriguing. I can't wait to see what that's all about. Like, how they pull that off. It seems like it might be like a supernatural movie. How they're able to do shit. Is the island possessed? I don't know. It's very interesting, so I'm curious to check that one out. And then my next one up, I won't say numbers no more because I honestly can't keep track. What number am I at? Invisible Man. Lee Winnell is going to write and direct Invisible Man. Is this a remake? Because that title sounds familiar. But the trailer, again, very intriguing. You're like, okay, is this a ghost? Is this all in her head? is there really an invisible man who made a machine that can make you invisible like a predator? What's going on? So I'm very intrigued by that. And Lee Winnell, he is like the master of twist. Dead Silence, Saw, Upgrade, love his stuff. He hasn't made a single bad movie yet that I am aware of. So I am very much looking forward to Invisible Man. And luckily, I don't have to wait that long because it's coming out in like February. Number 4 or 5, whatever. Like I said, no more numbers. Why am I saying numbers? A Quiet Place Part 2. I did a teaser trailer reaction, and it's like a 30-second clip. So I liked the first one. I thought John Krasinski did a very good job directing that and acting in that with his own wife. That must have been interesting. And just that movie, the suspense, the way you have to be quiet. Just the premise of that. And it's a crazy idea to have a fucking child in that world. You want to get killed? But yeah, Quiet Place 2, I'm curious to see if they're going to explain, are they going to do like an origins, are they going to go back, are they going to go forward, is it going to do both, are they going to show like day one to like the first movie, or are they just going to go from the first movie in and continue from there? I don't know. So Quiet Place 2, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm not sure when it comes out, but I'm going to guess like spring, early summer, somewhere around there. Next up, Halloween Kills. We got the announcement for this a few months ago. Hell, I think maybe within a month after this movie came out last year. They're like, yeah, we're going to make 2 more. But then we finally got the titles, and we had that little House on Fire teaser on YouTube that was released by Universal. And then we finally got like these behind-the-scenes snippets and like Michael standing outside of the house that's on fire. I'm very much looking forward to this. I'm curious to see what they're going to do. Are they going to up the gore? Are they going to up the body count? Are they going to make Michael just as brutal? I heard they're bringing back a lot of people from the first movie, so that's fan service. They're going to do a lot of fan service again. I just hope it's not too much. It's not too on the nose. They don't just steal everything. Just try to be original. And the kills are important. Keeping Myers scary like they did in Halloween 2018 is important. That scene with him going down the street killing people was the best scene in that movie. I want to see more of that. Keep Michael Myers a mystery, and don't fucking force him into Laurie's yard again. It just felt so forced how they got him to her. It's like, really? He doesn't give a shit about her. She's not his sister. I hope this movie doesn't make the same mistakes that one made, but it's still a damn good movie. I love Halloween 2018. I'm glad they attached kills and ends to the title, because if they did 2 and 3, I'd be writing letters to Blumhouse, cursing them out, because I hate the fact that I have to say what year the movie came out when I'm talking about Halloween now. Did you see Halloween? Which one? 1978? 2007? 2018? If they did like Halloween 2, it'd be the same thing. Oh, which one? 1981? 2009? I'm glad they called it Halloween Kills. Next up will be Saw 9, Organ Donor, whatever they're going to call this. Jigsaw 2, Saw 9, the Saw Legacy. I don't know what they're going to call it. But right now, the working title is never really the official title for most films. But the working title is Organ Donor, which is just awful. I don't want it to be called that. Call it Saw 9, call it Jigsaw 2, I don't know. Call it something. But not Organ Donor. It's supposed to have the same writers of the Jigsaw movie, but based off of a story idea from Chris Rock, which makes me feel worried. And this is the one I'm most worried about, because they can fuck this up. The Saw franchise is one of the best horror franchises, especially of the modern day, like post-2000. Final Destination, Saw, those are like the crown jewels of like modern day franchises. Those are the ones that, us millennials have, that we got to grow up with. And if they fuck up the continuity and the way those movies flow so well into each other, 1 through 8, 8 kind of, but it takes place before and after, so it's like a prequel, sequel. But those first 7, man, I don't want this movie to like change the way you view something in one of those. Like, I don't know, like it could taint those movies if it's so bad, and it could taint the franchise, because to me, the franchise doesn't have a single bad entry. It just has a couple mediocre ones. Like, whatever. But this could be like the first bad one, in my opinion. I'm sure there's people out there like, what are you talking about? They all suck. Screw you. They're amazing. But yeah, this is the one I'm most worried about, is Saw 9. I hope that it's good. And I hope that I can sing its praises the day it comes out, and I can review it and be like, yes, another good entry. So fingers crossed on that one. Number 1, I think. But actually, before I get to number 1, here's a few little honorable mentions. We got Escape Room 2. I liked Escape Room 1. It's a PG-13 horror movie. It was alright. And Top Gun Maverick. I saw Top Gun for the first time a few years back. It was okay. I don't remember much about it. It was quite a few years ago. So I don't have many thoughts on that. But it was the first movie that my parents saw when they were dating. I know that about it. So we finally got the sequel. Tom Cruise is coming back. And I'm curious to check that out. Maybe I'll watch the first one before that one comes out. And then we got The Grudge being remade. So we got that to look forward to in January. And apparently there's 3 of them. There's Grudge, Grudge 2, Grudge 3, and now there's a remake. So, yeah. Number 1, though. The number 1 movie that I am most anticipating. I'm very curious about where they're going to go with this movie, story-wise, and how it's going to play out. Like, is it going to be very close to the source material? Because there's a lot there that they could play with, but that person they hired for this main character makes me kind of, I'm worried a little bit. What are they going to do? And that's Uncharted. That is the best video game franchise out there, easily, on the PlayStation. Like, I think it's a PlayStation-only series, but that's a game about this 35 to 40-year-old guy who's constantly climbing shit, shooting local native, like, militia people, or, just his his competition that's always trying to beat him to, like, the treasure. And they hired Tom Holland, Spider-Man, who's, like, my age, maybe he's, like, 22, 23, to play this 35 to 40-year-old guy. So that's where I'm like, okay, is this going to be like a prequel to those video games? Is it going to be tied to those games? Is it going to ignore shit? Are we going to see Sully, Elena, those characters that we know and love? What are they going to do with that? Is it going to be like an Indiana Jones ripoff? I don't know. So I'm very curious about that one, and that one has a very late release date of like Christmas. So who knows? It might not even come out next year. But that is the one I'm looking forward to the most. What is your top 10 anticipated films of 2020? Let me know in the comments below. If you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button to support this channel, like and share it. And you can become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.